Huh, okay. I'm at Marilyn Manson concert. Sorry.
In the GameStop.
In the GameStop, yes.
All right.
GameStop manipulating your stocks. No, sorry.
Howdy, traders. We are back. It is episode 13. No, 14. 14. Woo!
Wow.
I'm going to have to do that one again. Yeah, episode 14 of Everything's Late, Nobody Dies.
Hi, 14.
And everything was late, and then it came in. Then it came in again.
Then it came in again, and now I want to die. Oh my god, if only I were a comic character, I could just jump off the roof the other day and just, I can't do it anymore. And then I'd be fine the next day.
You'd have to be back tomorrow.
Yeah, I know, it's true. I'd have to deal with it again. Yeah, anyway, hey.
So, lot to unpack this week, a lot going on.
Yeah.
So, at the time of filming this, it is, 3:48, quarter to 4. Quarter to 4 on Thursday afternoon. And Greg has been working in the shop all day.
I have.
So, knows very smart. He does this smart. He comes to work, he puts on the music, and forgets the rest of the world exists.
Yeah.
Then he just plays like a 14-year-old boy with comic books all day.
I don't know, 14. That's a little old.
So I've been kind of getting him caught up on the big news of the day.
Mm-hmm.
DC Comics is just, we don't know.
You mean DC.com?
DC, I don't know. Yeah, they dropped comics from the .com, mm-hmm. and apparently all branding. They're completely rebranding DC.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like the WWE thing.
I mean, DC Comics stood for Detective Comics anyway, so Detective Comics is kind of like my PIN number, my ATM machine. But still, they're a comic company, for God's sake.
Right.
And they drop comics. Doesn't look good.
And there is some speculation. I mean, I've been making the rounds, checked in with CBR and Quartering and Clownfish and all those places earlier today, and there is some scuttlebutt about the comic books for DC are going by the wayside.
Again, I wouldn't fully cry because of that. Their distribution and their publishing and the number, just the ridiculous number of Batman books and everything like that, I mean, it's just, something has to be done. They're not, if they keep doing it like this, they're not going to make it.
Right.
And my orders falling every single week.
Well, it's been a long time since DC's really captured anything with comic book readers,
mm-hmm.
comic book wise. I mean, the movies, the Batman did fairly well.
Well, see, the problem is they're always relying on that one, like, ooh thing. Right. Oh, we're going to reboot, we're going to renumber, we're going to relaunch, we're going to bring Watchmen back in, we're going to create Black Label brand, we're going to do, and then all those things are successful for about 3 months. And then they just drop right back down to where they were again. And because, they don't learn anything about why that was a success.
Right.
They just go on with whatever other plans they had and said, "Oh, okay, well, that works, so we're going to all be rich now." And that's not how that works. You've got to look at what you've done and why it's successful and keep doing that instead of just get one success and go, "Yay, we rule." Because that's not how that's going to work. And DC has never really, they haven't understood that for probably 40 years. That's, right. I would say since the 80s they haven't understood that.
Well, and you can't blame people that get set in their ways because they don't keep anybody long enough to get set in their ways.
That's true. That's really true. Yeah. And, it seems like every, and they're like, oh, yeah, well, HBO Max people were all fired and DC people were fired. It's like, this happens every 6 months.
Right.
With DC and Warner. And now AT&T. So it's like, You know, and everybody's talking about, oh, it's going to be great when Discovery takes over DC Comics, and you know, Warner Brothers sold it to Discovery. No, Warner Brothers owns Discovery. Discovery is a Warner Brothers company.
Right.
There's no selling, there's no merging, there's no anything. And they just gave it to a different department to try and do something else with because they didn't know what to do with it. You know, and that was what, a couple months ago, right? It's gotten worse. Like the distribution, all the stuff, the distribution, the shipping, the, you know, mysteriously vanishing FOCs, you know, like all the stuff has just gotten worse in the last couple months, not better. Because I think, you know, it's like they just keep handing somebody a pile of what do I do?
And I think that's actually pretty accurate because they're trying to fix comic distribution and comic writing and comic storylines and continuities. So they're trying to fix an art form that's, in their mind, has been effectively dead for, you know, 20 years.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, again, AT&T does not know what to do with this.
Yeah.
This is, you know, this is the vegan bran muffin that you find in your trick-or-treat bag, and you're like, oh, well, I got all this other stuff. How did this get here?
Yeah, I was, you know, and well, it's been a couple years since Jim Lee has been up at the top at DC, and
he's more like DC's Stan Lee now.
Right.
They bring him out to make announcements. You know, he'll do a cover here and there. He'll be on a TV show or.
And I was really encouraged because, you know, now you got a comic book guy that, like a legend, running DC Comics, and I don't think they've even given him a chance to do anything.
No, he hasn't done. Like, I don't think he's done much of anything really.
I think he just goes to work and doodles on his desk blotter.
Yeah, and then they call it a variant. No, I mean, I would love to see DC go back to what they were, you know, 20 years ago.
Right.
They were making some great books. They were making some excellent content. I was enjoying so much from them, you know, before and, you know, for the couple years after I opened the store here. You know, I mean, it was right up till about the mid to late 2000s. It was probably the late 2000s, you know, 2009, 2010, right there. That's when they lost me. You know, and I would love to see him go back to that, you know. And I mean, I would like to see one of two things, and it's the extremes, yeah. You know, but go back to what that 20 years ago DC was. Or do digital and release them in trades and just forget it. Just forget trying to do this.
Right.
You know, and I mean, if you don't know what you're doing with it, then please stop.
And I'm not opposed to the idea of going digital and releasing in trades. There was a book on FOC from Scout Comics, I believe, where they're releasing the first issue as a floppy, and then everything else is in a collective.
They've done that quite a bit, Scout has.
So I wasn't familiar with that as a format, but I kind of really like that idea.
Yeah.
And I would imagine from a retailer's point of view that's got to be easier on you for sure.
Well, you know, I mean, it's kind of tough because you have to explain that to people, and that's such a foreign concept for comics. I mean, you know, very rarely do you have like, oh, okay, well, here's one issue, the rest of it is all just over here doing this and blah, 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 right? You know, rarely do you have that. And it's tough for people to get used to that. You know, it's really hard to do. You know, but, I mean, if they would advertise it as, you know, hey, here, you know, maybe make it $1.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if they made it $1 comic, I would buy, you know, 30 of those for the shelf.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'd say, look, this is only $1. It's the first chapter. It's the first portion, whatever you want to call it, you know, of the trade paperback that's coming up.
Right. So basically all your number ones become ash cans.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. You know, and if you want to do that, fine. That's great.
I actually think it's a brilliant concept. Yeah. I mean, you can't.
But they should be cheaper. They shouldn't be $4.
Right. Oh,
yeah.
Definitely. But you can't do that with your big ones. You can't do that with a Spider-Man or a Batman or a Superman.
No, you can't.
You really can't. But
you gotta have the monthlies.
For for somebody that like Scout that's putting these 6-issue runs out, it makes total sense for that.
Yeah, it does.
Like, I just thought that was kind of a brilliant thing. So,
yeah, so I think that's a cool idea, but again, I don't think it should be a $4 book. I think it should be a $1 book, and because if you're putting that out there, it should be a promotional book to sell the trade,
right?
And I feel like people would be much more open to that if that were the case.
And that would give you some value in those number ones or ash cans or whatever you want to call them.
Right,
Give
yeah.
you some value in that for your aftermarket, which drives comic book sales.
Yeah.
And then, while still getting the stories out there as complete stories,
Sure.
for them to do something with in the future.
Yeah.
So,
no, I agree.
So the rumors spinning about. I mean, the last couple of days they've really shooken up, like HBO Max and DCEU movies and all of
HBO
that.
Max is going away. Is that right?
HBO Max, from my understanding, Max, the service, is going away and going to be incorporated into Discovery Plus. Why they would choose? I mean, I would assume that Discovery Plus has got more subscribers, just because HBO's always been more of a premium, high-end
Well,
service.
bundle them, man. Do a Disney Hulu.
But you would think that HBO Max would have more brand recognition than Discovery.
Well, yeah. Man, I mean, I don't even know what Discovery has on anymore. It used to be like science stuff and like,
Right.
and there were the odd, here and there, like, hey, this is how they make cheese. Nah, I don't really give a shit, but there was some cool stuff in there. I mean,
Yeah,
it's kind of
now
like,
they got
yeah,
the story about my wedding night, naked and afraid. That kind of stuff. And that kind of seems to be not my naked and afraidness. They seem to be going towards that format, even with their HBO stuff, which doesn't make no sense to me.
I mean,
Doesn't make no.
Don't make no.
Don't make no
don't
sense.
make no sense. No, it don't not make no sense. That's it. Okay.
My little Southern boy just came out there.
I'll fix that for you. All right.
All right.
All right. You okay? You good?
All right.
Okay. Good. Good. All right, let's move on.
But yeah, they want to go to unscripted television,
Which is scripted. I mean, it's
Which is scripted.
Unscripted TV is scripted. It's unscripted, scripted TV.
And I've mentioned it before. My guilty pleasure is reality TV. I love me some good reality TV. But
I love it if it has to do with murder or food. I don't know why those are my two reality things. I mean, you can branch out here and there. My wife, for some reason, is watching YouTube videos of people making tables right now. I don't know why that is.
the Tiger King thing.
Maybe that's how tired of me she is. Hey, you want to hang out? No, I'm watching a table being made.
It's only one step between a table and a coffin. I'm just saying.
Oh, that's true.
Gotta
Oh,
think.
whoa. I was wondering why the tables all had lids. That doesn't make any sense. Uh-oh.
Has she retired yet?
Yep.
She's got free time. Just saying, I'd check your garage when you go home. See what's going on out there.
Not alone. No, I'm gonna teach me how to live stream. I gotta do that. Okay, here I am in the garage. Everything's good, right? Y'all can still see me. Okay, nobody's behind me. Okay, good.
The Sugar House Witch Project.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Crazy.
Naked and afraid.
But yeah, so my biggest concern, I mean, they're going to do what they do on the television side of things. My biggest concern is also my biggest criticism of HBO, because I signed up for the DC service that they had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When they had that, because they had a full catalog of everything on there, and you could get Swamp Thing and all the WB DC stuff, and all of that was on there. And then when they moved to HBO Plus, they dropped half of it.
Yeah.
I want to be able to access the catalog. I've never seen Swamp Thing, the TV show.
No, neither have I.
As soon as I got HBO Plus thinking, or HBO Max thinking I was going to watch that, it wasn't on the service. So it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know why they would do that. It's ridiculous. But
So
Right.
they've been completely jacking with everything, canceling movies that are being locked away forever, and nobody's
Yeah.
ever going to see a Michael Keaton Batman movie that was actually made and filmed in the can, and nobody's ever going to see it. So
Nah.
it's crazy that those things happen, and they can't legally show it. Is the thing. So nobody's ever going to see that. Saw a meme of like some girl with this angsty expression on her face, and the meme said something like, "This is me keystering the hard drive containing the Batgirl movie as I walk out of my last day at HBO Max." If somebody does that, they're going to make a mint on that.
Well,
on
I mean,
that
you know,
movie.
and we'll be able to buy that right next to the Roger Corman Fantastic Four movie at cons. So it'll be fun. It'll be good.
I don't think you can get that at a con anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll
No, it's
allow
on
that to be
YouTube
sold
now.
on there. Is it?
Oh yeah, you can find it on YouTube
I've
all
never
over the
seen it on
place.
YouTube. I actually have a DVD with that on it.
Oh, it's so great.
It was burned from an old videotape that somebody filmed. And
The videotape should have been burned, but whatever. Man. I love that movie. It's so terrible. But I still feel like the thing in that is probably better than the one in the Chris Evans Fantastic Four movie.
Michael Chiklis?
Yeah.
I thought he was awesome.
Well, yeah. Then he was good, but the problem is when he moves around, you can like see the seams all over the place. They're like, seriously, Fox didn't have enough money to cover that up.
And they're getting like progressively worse because then we get the thing from the latest Fantastic Four.
Which I didn't even bother with, but yeah,
So horrible.
yeah, I didn't even bother.
Horrible.
With that one. Yeah, that looked awful.
My grandson accidentally bought on my Voodoo. Accidentally bought all of the Spider-Man collection, and it cost me $100 because he wanted to watch Spider-Man, so he could. And I already own them. I don't know why he just didn't go to the. But anyway, so now I own them twice. Once in a
Because
collection.
they don't know what he doesn't know what physical media is.
And we tried to get a refund on it, and they denied it or whatever. I would be more happy if they refunded me the $9.99 that I spent on the newest Fantastic Four, and gladly pay for that $100 Spider-Man.
Paid $10 for that, huh?
Yeah, I got ripped off.
Yeah, sounds that way. Oh man. Anyway, so
But there's no telling where they're. But my concern is where they're going with comic books, right?
yeah.
And
I had to tell you, I mean, you know, based on everything else, and it wouldn't hurt my feelings if they just stopped.
I don't see that happening. It makes no sense for them to stop doing it. It would make sense for them to license it to a comic book publisher, license the characters out to an Image or a Boom or.
You know, I don't think they do that either, though, and because they're incredibly cheap and they're doing everything they can to cut back costs right now because they're billions in debt.
But that doesn't cost them. That's an income. They put no money out. They get paid licensing fees, and Boom can run with it.
I mean, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, that would be better, honestly, for us.
Well, but who have they done so much damage to the brand, though? Do you think?
I don't think so. I don't think you can damage. I think, Batman's untouchable. It really is.
I don't know. I'm getting a little tired of them. I got Batman tattoos. I got thousands of Batman comics in my collection. I'm getting tired of it because they're, like I said, at last count there were 14 Batman titles.
Well, and that does. I don't think that really damages the future. The future.
It burns out. I guess
marketability.
it burns out the present instead of damaging the future.
Right.
I suppose.
Because tomorrow, if you cut down to Detective and Batman, your holds for those two books would shoot way up.
Oh, they double.
And it wouldn't be because people are dropping whatever auxiliary book because they're not buying those either.
Right.
So it would just be because they're like, oh, now
Yeah.
we're getting serious again. We're getting serious about Batman. We're putting out a Batman book.
So the problem I would see with them, licensing that out is they would still want the control of it. I feel.
Well, yeah, because that's what drives what's going to happen in the movies.
Yeah.
So,
And they don't know what to do with them.
yeah.
So they're still going to have their fingers in there.
I can see them doing something along the lines, because they've licensed out, DC has licensed out, like the Starfighter stuff for the young adult books and stuff like that. Maybe playing around with some of those auxiliary characters.
But those are all DCs.
Right. No.
Yeah.
Well, no, they weren't published by DC. The Scholastic stuff, that wasn't published.
Oh, the Scholastic
by DC.
stuff. Okay, yeah. No, I thought you meant like
So they've dipped their toes in it a little bit,
I guess, yeah.
like Marvel has with the Star Wars adventures and Avengers adventures and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
But,
no, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. So I wouldn't be surprised talking about the artists formerly known as DC, or DC Comics, still DC. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they took the route of, and if this actually comes true, I want to be famous, but and I wouldn't be surprised if they took the route of doing digital comics, doing a full reboot to match up with the cinematic DC universe,
Right.
and the cartoons and stuff. If they were going to do that, do a full reboot to match all the comics up to that, put them out digitally, because they're talking about, on this DC.com, explore the digital realm of DC and blah, blah, blah. There's not one thing about physical media on there.
right.
And then put them out in trades. And because I think that would be more of a success than this for them, I believe, and because then you would have that as an overused word, but the synergy between the published stuff and the movie stuff.
Right.
So people that come in, like, when people came in and they're like, oh yeah, I heard, that Batman v Superman was based on, The Dark Knight Returns. It's like, well, no, but, and then they would read Dark Knight Returns and be like, this is nothing like that. Or, the Death of Superman, the Doomsday stuff. And then they would read that and be like, well, there's absolutely nothing like that at all. So I think it might be a good idea for them to do that and just drop everything they're doing right now, because this isn't
Right.
working.
Right.
They don't know what to do with these characters. It's not working at all. They're on 126 on Batman. And they've had 4 or 5 writers.
Right.
That's you can't do that. There's no consistency. There's no anything with them. So if they did that, then put them out in trades. That way they could sell those trades. To Barnes & Noble and to, I don't know, whoever else is left, I guess, Amazon, and then they would have those things sold to them, and then they would sell $30 books instead of, $6 books or something.
Right.
And they wouldn't have to, the production wouldn't be as much, like, it wouldn't cost them as much to do that, because they wouldn't have to print those single issues, and it wouldn't cost that, And I think the best idea for them, honestly, would be to do that. This will never happen, but rejoin Diamond and have Diamond be the distributor, with their trade paperbacks, and that's all they sell now.
Oh, I don't know. For one thing, I would say never say never, because they are making, I think, some positive changes.
Well, Lunar's a mess.
From what I've seen. And Lunar is a mess. So, one thing, I can't remember his name, but the guy that's heading up all of this shakeup at DC. One thing that he is trying to do is kind of streamline things and make it easier for us to consume. So, and I think he's going to have to look at his distribution at DC and because it's not working.
No,
and,
it's
and
not.
Not only is it not working for you, I deal with comic shops across the country with the pressing business, and it's not working across the country.
No, yeah.
So,
I get people in all the time that are like, oh, the guys up the street didn't get any DC stuff.
yeah.
Or they said it's coming on Monday, and then I get stuff, it's supposed to be up on Tuesday, and I get it Tuesday afternoon, or I get it the week before, or I get it the wrong stuff, or I get it shorted, or I get it doubled, or I get, what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just a mess, man.
But I kind of see them going towards more of a kind of a hybrid thing. One of the things that's been kicking around today, and I mean it's a rumor, inside sources, whatever, is that they're paring down to the top 12 or 14 titles.
That would be great.
Keeping, your Batman, Detective Superman action, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Justice League.
That would be
type
fantastic.
Stuff. And then putting, then you can put Nightwing on digital. Do the digital thing with that. Yeah. Do the digital thing with Teen Titans or Harley Quinn or all of these secondary characters that they think are driving sales and they just aren't.
Yeah.
Like
I would like to see that.
Yeah, Harley Quinn is as fun of a book as that is, and as great of a book as Nightwing has been the last 2 years. Like, that's the best writing that there's been in the DC universe, really. That's losing money.
Yeah, it's just not.
If they went to digital and then into a trade format.
Yeah.
And Marvel at this point is proving that you can reverse that too. You can go from a trade format and put out 6 floppies 3 years later,
right?
And people are going to buy it.
People are buying it. Man. I mean, I'm buying it. I already have the hardcovers that they did, the Deadpool and the Jessica Jones ones. But what did I do? I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I need the monthlies too. And they say there's new stuff in there, but there's not much that's new.
Yeah, because people that are collecting comic books are going to buy the floppies.
Yeah,
I mean that's what we do.
Mm-hmm. So, I don't know.
So it'll be interesting that news is supposed to release in the next hour or so.
After the stock exchange closed, he said that is not good news.
It typically is not good news, but it makes sense. Gives them a couple days for people to react and think before they start dumping stock.
Yeah,
because their earnings report is not going to be good.
No, it's not. It's going to be really bad. If you've got great news that you're going to talk about, you're not going to wait until after the stock exchange closed.
You do that on a Monday at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You don't do it on Thursday night.
All right. So that's our little input. If you run DC Discovery, you come and talk to us. We'll fix you up. We'll get you going again.
Hi, Doc. Hi. Bye, Doc.
We'll show you how a Batman should run. All right. So, pick of the week.
Yes.
Picks of the week.
It looks like this is some kind of crazy chromium cover, the way the lights are hitting this.
It does.
There you go.
I'm trying to get my angle, because if I don't get my angle right, Bueller's going to, come back and haunt me.
Well, Demon Slayer.
Hi, Bueller.
Hi, Bueller. Yeah. Mine is Sacrament.
I know absolutely nothing about this book.
It is so cool.
Was that AWA?
It's AWA. Okay. Yep. So, of course, it'll be a movie soon. I'd love to see this as a movie. It takes place in the future, where there's, no religion, and priests are, the outliers and the, whatever. Priests are the ones that are we're running around and they're undercover and stuff, nobody can see them. And if you do see them, then they take them in and they do basically surgery on their brains, and they take out what they call the God piece of their brain, so there's no religion anymore. So it's like a really hardcore version of a John Lennon song. And these priests are running around, and they're the underground, the rebellion and stuff like that, and they're doing exorcisms. But if they get caught, then they get punished and blah, 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 right? So it's kind of like a mixture of The Exorcist and Alien.
Huh.
And it's really cool, and they keep finding all these murders with people either crucified upside down, nailed to a wall, or with people that have been murdered and upside down crosses all over the walls, And they actually, I appreciate this because, they're oh, wait, an inverted cross, is that? And one of the characters goes, oh, no. See, that's St. Peter's cross. And he didn't want to be crucified. He didn't think he was worthy of being crucified like Jesus, so he put the cross upside down. Satanists basically co-opted it and used it for symbolism like that. But it gives a whole actual history of the inverted cross, which is not satanic and evil. It's in the Bible. And I mean, if you see, you see the Pope, a lot of the time you'll see inverted crosses on him. And it's not because he's a kick-ass rock and roll Pope. Listen to Slayer at home.
Yeah.
It's because that is the cross. That they were like, oh yeah. I am not worthy to be, crucified like Jesus was. So we're gonna put it upside down because I'm not worthy of what happened to him. I'm a lesser person, and all that kind of stuff. And it does go into that. There's a lot that happens in this first issue. It's a lot, and at first, I was looking at it and I was like, oh man, I was trying to catch something wrong with this book because it was so good. I'm like, it can't be this good, right? So, I was looking at the spaceship, and one page, the spaceship looks totally different than it does on the next page. And I'm like, ha, gotcha. And then I went like 2 panels down, and they're like, yeah, well, we got on this different freighter. And I'm like, damn it. Like, it's so well done. Really, really good.
So they got continuity going on.
They got continuity. Peter Milligan, it is Peter Milligan, right, that wrote it. Yeah, Peter Milligan. This is some of the strongest stuff I've seen him come out with for a while. And Marcelo Frusen, I think is how you say his name. He was like one of my favorite artists on Hellblazer years back, when DC had a little imprint called Vertigo that was never going to go anywhere, so they just got rid of it. Anyway, so yeah, they've really got a great team for this. The storytelling team seems to be really, really like on point here. They know one person knows what the other one is doing, which is really nice to see.
I get worried about new AWA stuff because it never fails. Every week when I'm doing the final order cutoff video, I see something from AWA. I'm like, that really sounds cool. Mm-hmm. Like that should be kind of a pick of the week type book.
Yeah.
And I get concerned about companies that I feel are actually writing for an option. Mm-hmm. Like and that was my problem with a lot of the bad idea stuff is they flat out let you know that that's why they're writing books. They want those to be options.
And that's an early 90s Image thing with Rob Liefeld.
Yeah.
Here's the first issue of this. What, it didn't get picked up? All right, second issue's never coming out. But look at the first issue of this.
Right.
What's that? It's not a cartoon? Okay, you're never going to see that again. But look at the first issue of this guy with crazy hair. Look at this sort of Wolverine type character. I mean, didn't he have like a character called Berserker? Like a little Wolverine character named Berserker? I mean, and they were like trying to sell all that stuff. Like that's what Image was doing in those early days. And it was based on the Wildcats cartoon, the Spawn cartoon,
right?
Then the Spawn movie, and then everybody was like, "Oh God, hell yeah, man, let's make that Hollywood money." And when it didn't get picked up, they just didn't put any more issues out. Yeah, but it's and I get a little concerned with that too. I mean, the concern I have with it though is more like Boom's early days and Aftershock's early days, when almost everything Boom put out in those early days was just awesome.
Right.
It was either really fun and silly, or if it was really serious and like really well done, or it was a cool license like Incredibles or, something like that, right? Same thing with Aftershock. Everything they put out initially was just so good. And then they started putting out more and more and more stuff, and that quality control slipped a little bit.
Right.
Then they had to sort of step back, refigure what they're going to do with their company, then come back strong again. I think Boom maybe came back too strong, and it sort of ruined the indie company they used to be. Aftershock is still in touch with me all the time. They're really good to work with. I think they're doing some really quality stuff, and they've gotten their quality control, I think kind of centered, and they know who they are. They found an identity. Right. I hope we don't have to go through that with AWA, because I'm not sure right now the market can support a drop like that in quality, because people just quit buying it because there's so much stuff out there. So if they do hit that kind of middle spot, I'm afraid they might not stick around.
Well, one thing I like about AWA is the books that are putting out, they seem to be concentrated more on just telling a good story.
Yeah.
Whether it's good quality artwork, their interiors are typically really nice.
Yeah.
The covers are real splashy, but they don't put out 9 variants for every book, and they don't do those gimmicky things.
Right.
So it seems like they're really concentrating more on the stories.
Yeah. I mean, they'll typically be 2 covers for number 1, and then after that, they're just like, okay, fine.
Yeah,
here's your cover. Here's your cover. Here's your book.
The Joneses was spectacular.
That's Mike Morisi. That's who wrote the Joneses. That's the guy that signed the Planet of the Apes stuff. And you're like, who signed this?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's Mike.
So yeah, the Joneses. That's actually such a good storyline. You know me, I like hoard 5, 6 issues at a time and read them.
Yeah.
I've read every single issue as it comes out because it's such a good story. And if that doesn't get optioned, I'm going to be so pissed. Somebody's got to pick this story up.
Yeah.
But it's so good that I don't read solicitations on Final Order Cutoff because I don't want it to be spoiled for me.
That's
so good.
That's what my daughter and I do with TV shows. We don't want to watch the wait. Next episode. Like,
really?
Because there's always something there. It's like, damn it. Except with the boys. The boys, it's just smart ass stuff.
Yeah, I'm
so funny.
Behind on the boys. I'm 2 seasons behind on the boys now.
Oh well.
So yeah, I think I'll have to grab this one and give it a run. That looks actually cover is really cool.
That cover is fantastic.
All right, cool.
What's yours?
My pick of the week. Now, so we were talking, and you said you were probably going to pick what's the name? Granny's Killing Each Other book. What is the name? Get. What's that book right there?
Good.
Stop. Turn. Up in the
Golden Rage. Yes, that's what I was going to say.
So Golden Rage. You said that you thought you were going to pick Golden Rage.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely loved it. It was a great book. I had a moment there at the beginning of that one. I was like, I don't know where they're going with this character. I thought that it was just an editorial issue. The one kind of talk like this.
Oh yeah.
Like I thought that was an editorial issue,
yep.
but it's apparently the character. So
yeah. She's I guess Russian. I'm guessing,
or a little bit slow, maybe.
Okay.
That's kind of what I got.
Okay.
Kind of a Baby Huey type.
Oh yeah, so I took it as being like a Russian accent.
Could be. Like they didn't really explain, so we'll find out.
Yeah, I guess we will.
So anyway, that's a great book. So Golden Rage, if you haven't picked that up, well worth the read. That's a real fun book.
Yeah, it was good.
Kind of like where they're going with it. But I picked up a second book because I was going to read this one, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to one of those two, and then if he picks Golden Rage, I'll pick the other one. And so I grabbed, and this definitely is my pick of the week this week.
You're very silly with your books this week.
Survival Street, I can't believe you haven't read this. It is so good. It is so good. It is like the craziest, what the hell did I just read book since Ice Cream Man #1. Like,
oh, wow.
This is the premise behind it, and I won't go too far into it, but it's very politically charged.
Okay.
So if you're into, political things and discussing the woes of our nation, that kind of stuff, there's plenty of that.
Okay.
It tackles the issue of immigration and illegal immigration and all that type of stuff.
In a Violent Sesame Street book?
They're puppets. They're puppets. Like the illegal, the like lower class, the people that get crapped on by the corporation are puppets.
Do you think that's a literal metaphor?
And they become violent.
Is that a literal metaphor? They're puppets?
Yeah.
You didn't think about that, did you?
No, I didn't. But it is so brilliantly written as far as, talking about classism and racism and all the isms that we have to deal with. And they really, there's no secret here. I think politically we're both centrist, but you're a little left leaning. I'm a little right leaning.
Yeah.
But this tackles it from both directions. Like it's you're like liberals are the bad kind of liberals. Your conservatives are the bad kind of conservatives, and they butt heads.
So it's like The Hunt, but with puppets. Have you seen The Hunt?
No, I haven't.
You need to see that. It's a great movie.
But and they're all characters you know too. Like it's Oscar the Grouch. It's Bert and Ernie. And the Oscar the Grouch character in this is like this psychopath that just wants to blow things up. And if humans are there, all the better. Like it's just
okay. This is
so good,
wonderful,
so good.
I looked through it and I was like, yeah, this looks really cool. And then I was short a bunch and I had some that were damaged. I'm like, I'll get some more of them, So what I have right now, because I know it's going to that'll be a big book just by looking at it. It's going to be a book.
It's going to be big.
And so yeah, when I get the replacements in, if I do, okay, knock on wood. If I get replacements in, I will have to check that out for sure.
I actually, when I came in today, I was looking to buy, because I only got the one cover. I wanted to get the other cover. I wanted to get multiples, because I think it's going to be a bigger book.
Yeah, probably will.
There's a lot of fun stuff in it, for sure.
Cool.
A lot of great stuff. And the one thing that was really funny is, so it's set in a near future. And it gives you the timeline. It says in 2023 this happened, in 2027 this happened, and then takes you all the way up to 2031. This is where we're at, and then things start blowing up. So
I hope it's not like a Simpsons thing where all this happens.
It could very well. I mean, the president in the book, and this isn't really a spoiler, but the president in the book they refer to him. The only name they give him is President Junior. Yeah. No. And he's basically a shill for the corporation.
Oh, wow.
Like instead of a State of the Union address, he has to
State of the corporation or something.
No, he has to undergo a employee review.
Oh, no. Oh boy!
Because the premise behind that got the ball rolling is in 2026 or 2027 or whatever, Congress passed a law that gave corporations the same civil rights as an individual person.
Okay, well that almost has happened.
Yeah. So it's very on point.
I don't know. I think about this one,
and it's done with people shooting puppets in the head and stuffing coming out the other side, and referring to themselves as latex people politically correctly. I mean, it's just a great book.
It's politically incorrect.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Meet the Feebles?
No.
I feel like you need to see that. It's early Peter Jackson movie. It was after he did, he did Bad Taste, then he did Meet the Feebles, and then he did Forgotten Silver, then he did Dead Alive. So I think Meet the Feebles was his second, or I might have those the second and third reversed, but Meet the Feebles is basically about a Muppet show. And it's like all the stuff behind the scenes, so it's almost like Watchmen but with the Muppets. So it's all the stuff behind the scenes, the hippo instead of Miss Piggy, and people are telling her that she doesn't look good enough, she's too fat to be on screen, and this and that, and everybody's addicted to Coke, and there's like, oh my god.
There was a show that starred Seth Green, Greg the Bunny.
Oh yeah,
Greg
I remember that. I love that
like
show. That was great.
Yeah, I love Greg.
Yeah, I love you too.
But
I love Lamp. Yeah, I remember that show. That was funny. I like that show a lot. Yeah, you should check out Meet the Feebles because it's
all right.
It's super offensive. There's I'm just gonna say stuffing is not the only thing that comes out of the puppets.
All right.
There we go. All right, enjoy.
Yeah, there's a little bit of that in this book as
Oh,
well.
wow, okay. Oh, man.
Like this one's a winner. It's
Cool.
a winner for sure.
Nice.
I did like Golden Rage. I thought that was a really well done book.
Yeah.
Kind of curious to see where it's headed.
And I didn't even, until I was like halfway through the book, I hope it's a planned pun, but I didn't get the pun on Golden Age.
Really?
Yeah. Because there is the Golden Girls quote on the back of it.
I mean, and that's another one that I think is really politically charged too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, for sure.
You know, it's like, it's almost like a more accessible and enjoyable Bitch Planet.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. You know, it's, you know, and Bitch Planet, when I first started reading that, I was like, oh, yeah, this is great. You know, and then it just went on and on and on, you know, and it seemed like it lost the edge that it had at first, just so it would become more edgy.
Right.
You know, I mean, like, oddly, that's kind of...
It kind of became a parody of itself.
It did. You know, yeah, it did. It really did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, you know, I mean, that early, like the first or maybe second storyline I quite liked, and then after that I was like, okay, I'm over this. I know what they're trying to say, and they don't need to keep saying it over and over and over again. I get it.
Yeah.
So.
One thing that I thought was really interesting about Golden Rage as I was reading through it this morning is the interior art style of that, and I think it works extremely well for that book. Everything that I liked about that is the exact same stuff that I hated about John Carter.
Really?
Yeah, because it's very monochromatic. It's got a very muted palette to it, and the line work on it is very simple and blocky. Like everything that I did not like about John Carter did not work for John Carter, but it worked extremely well for this book.
I can see that, you know, and I feel like it would have. And I feel like it matches the story in this because it is kind of, they're removed from everything, sort of, you know what I mean? So it is sort of, It's like a lonely style of art almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it works really well for that.
Right on.
Yeah, good book.
So 3 books, three for the price of 2.
There you go.
We got Sacrament, Survival Street, and Golden Rage.
But not like 3. I'm not going to give you one if you come in here and buy 2. That's not what he meant.
But if you buy 3, you can have all 3 of them.
That's true, and I will give you a free plastic bag to carry him home in.
Nice. Can't beat that anywhere.
No.
All right. So some great picks of the week. Go out and grab them. If you don't have an LCS, leave a comment below, shoot me a message, and I will grab them from Greg and ship them out to you.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to do that for anybody that's watching.
Awesome.
All right. So that's what we got for this week, folks. Make sure to tune in Wednesdays. On Wednesdays, we film right here live at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Time. We run down the wall, show you all the new books. All right. So make sure you tune in Wednesdays for that live, new Comic Book Day live. And I am going to let you all know that we're starting next month. We've got a new show coming out first weekend of every month where we're going to have some guests come in. We've got Bullseye Bob is going to be joining us. We're going to try to get Bueller, Gary B, TM Nerdy, and we're going to do a wrap-up. We might even get Greg to talk Greg into sitting in on it with us and just talk about what happened the previous month. And we're going to call it Rogues Gallery. So,
Oh, that's good. How much will I get paid for it?
You'll get paid double what you make out for this one.
Okay.
We'll double it.
That's nice. Right on. What am I getting paid for this?
Yep. All right. Till next time, traders, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
And
ring the bell
that bell.
to make sure you get notifications for all of our shows.